and welcome to Cooking with Todd. This is Todd. For today's video, I have decided to do beef jerky. For this recipe, you're going to need 1.8 kilos or about 4 pounds of Milanesa. I'm not quite sure if that's how you pronounce it or not, but I will go ahead and put text over the video to spell it out. You're also going to need 120 milliliters or half a cup of soy sauce. You're also going to need 4 tablespoons of Worcestershire. You're going to need 4 tablespoons of liquid smoke. You're also going to need 4 tablespoons of brown sugar. I'm using white sugar because I'm going to be using some molasses, which is how I make my brown sugar, which is pretty much the same thing you buy in the store. It's just molasses and sugar mixed together. But I prefer to make it myself. It's a little cheaper that way. You're also going to need 3 tablespoons of salt. I'm just using sea salt. You're going to need 1 teaspoon of MSG. You're going to need 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. I'm using granulated garlic. You're also going to need 2 teaspoons of onion powder, which is also granulated. To get started, I am going to go ahead and just mix all my dry ingredients together first. So I'm going to dump my sugar in. I'm going to go ahead and grab a measuring spoon, and I'm going to measure out my spices. Now, if you do not have smoked paprika, you do not have to use it. I just prefer the smoky flavor that it gives. Or the additional smoky flavor, I should say. Now for this, you are not going to need a smoker. And I will show you how I get around that here in a second. Okay, so there's all my... Oh wait, forgetting my other ingredients here. I'm not really worried about precisely measuring the MSG. And if you don't want to use the MSG, you do not have to. You can just use 4 teaspoons of salt and now, if you don't want to use the MSG, you don't have to. That just helps it taste a little better. That's all. Not that it don't taste good without it. It's just an ingredient I like to use. Now I'm just going to go ahead and mix all this together. And I can already smell the smoked paprika out of this, so I'm going to go ahead and measure in my soy sauce, which, once again, that is 120 mils, or half a cup. I'm also going to go ahead and measure in my Worcestershire, which that is 4 tablespoons, which is 60 milliliters. Now, if you don't want to use as much salt as I am right here, you do not have to, as this is quite a lot of salt. The Worcestershire and soy has tons of it already in there. Last time I actually left out, I believe, a whole teaspoon worth of salt, which I did not do it this time. I'm also going to add in my blackstrap molasses to make that brown sugar. About equal amounts. So about 2.5 tablespoons right there is what I'm just going to use. And I'm going to go ahead and just mix this up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set this... Oh wait, I'm forgetting to add in my liquid smoke. So, not quite done yet. I'm going to go ahead and add in the 60 ml or 4 tablespoons of this too. I just went ahead and finished the bottle off. It's like an extra tablespoon or so in here, so won't hurt nothing. And that right there is how I mitigate not having a smoker. So, and also the marinating time helps mitigate that too. So I am going to go grab my cutting board and I will be right back. Okay, so I got my cutting board and I got some paper towels and my knife. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Now, since I vacuum sealed this, there's not really going to be much blood in between the slices here, so it's mainly all going to be on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and just drop that out on there. Just set that bag off into the sink. And I'm going to go ahead and grab some more paper towels, and I'm just going to pat the outside of this dry and wipe up any of the spilled blood. Now, this is kind of one of the advantages of using this type of meat, but I like it because it's already thinly sliced, so it's pretty much about 1/8 of an inch thick, maybe even less than that. So I don't really have to worry about slicing my meat, so that makes it nice. Now I'm going to go ahead and just go through this, and I'm going to kind of like trim my pieces up. I'm still going to use those smaller pieces, but I'm just going to try and stack evenly sized pieces with each other. And I will just go ahead and bring you back once I'm done with this. Okay, so I went through my meat and got everything sorted. I'm going to go ahead and just start trimming. So I'm going to cut this little tail right there off. I'm still going to use it. These right here are the pieces that kind of just like fell apart and stuff like that while I was going through it. So they're not really uniform pieces. I'm still going to use those. I'll just put those in a separate like marination bag. I'm going to go ahead and cut this fat right here off, and I'm going to go ahead and just trim it completely off, and then stick that piece right there. And I'm going to discard of that, and I'm going to go ahead and set that back off there with those. Also, these right here have a little extra fat right there. I'm going to cut them off. And now I'm going to go ahead and just start cutting my trimmed pieces into strips. Now, since these right here are all the same thickness, I'm going to go ahead and just cut these smaller ones here. And this is all the uniform pieces, which I'm guessing I got about 1/2 kilo worth of that right here. And I got a lot more non-uniform pieces, which I'm still going to use, which I will probably end up putting these in like a separate vacuum sealed bag and just put like jerky pieces, bite-sized jerky pieces, something like that. I'm still going to keep them in strips, but later on after I'm done with these, I'll just put them in a bag and they'll be like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through all of this and cut them up into pieces and everything, and I'll bring you back. Okay, so I have all my meat cut up. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to go ahead and bring my marinade back over and give it another mix, since there is some sugar still in here that is not dissolved yet. And I'm going to go ahead and just mix this until I'm pretty confident that the sugar is dissolved. And I'll just bring you back. Okay, so I'm confident now that that is all mixed up. So I'm going to go ahead and just set this whisk off to the side. Stick this back over here. And I'm going to go ahead and grab some vacuum bags, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got me 2 vacuum bags here. One bag, I'm going to go ahead and put the pieces in, which is just the non-uniform steaks that I just cut up. And I'll actually finish cutting these up after they've done marinated later on, as I got a couple other videos I'm going to try and make today, so don't really have that much time to cut meat up. So and I'm also trying to break some of the pieces that are stuck together up. Alright, so those are in there. Okay, so now that I got all these pieces broke up, I'm going to go ahead and just put these in the vacuum bag. And I'm going to go ahead and just wipe my board off right quick. And set this off to the side to be washed later on. I'm going to go ahead and grab my marinade again. And I'm going to add a little extra molasses in here. About another tablespoon. Alright, and I'm going to actually try and divide this between these two. Since this one has a little less meat than my pieces, this one's going to get a little more marinade. So, I'm going to just go ahead and dump my marinade in the bag. About right there, what I'm going to call good, till it just about comes halfway up. And this one I'm going to go ahead and add in marinade about the same. Alright, right about there. I got a little extra left, so I'm going to add that into this one right here. I'm going to go ahead and wipe this spill up. And I'm going to grab my vacuum sealer right quick. See if I actually got a good seal on that, which I did. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just lay this out flat. And I'm going to go ahead and just massage the meat. And it actually makes it a little easier doing it this way. with a little extra air in here. And I'll actually stick these in my refrigerator for about 24 hours. So before I go to bed, or about a couple hours before I go to bed, I'm going to go ahead and take these and flip them in the fridge. And I'm going to actually just go ahead and bring you back once tomorrow gets here. Okay, so it's been about 31 hours now since I've put this in my marinade. I am actually going to go ahead and move all of these but one off to the side. And I have some parchment paper that I'm going to lay down on each rack. And I am going to get the ones that are bits and pieces, and I'm going to use those on here. And there really shouldn't be much marinade left, so I'm going to grab a bowl just in case. And I'm going to go ahead and just dump this out into the bowl and discard of the bag. And I'm going to go ahead and just start laying this out on here. I'm not even going to rinse the seasonings off, as that actually just adds to the flavor. And I'm just going to lay these out like this. And these are going to shrink down quite a bit in the dehydrator that I'm going to use. So now, if you have a smoker, you can use a smoker for this and just skip adding the liquid smoke. But since I don't have a smoker, I'm not going to use a smoker, obviously. And I am using the liquid smoke to add that smoke flavor. And I will actually probably break these up a little more after they've been dehydrated. And I have my dehydrator in the other room already preheating to, I believe it's 135, and I'm going to do that at 5 hours. And I will adjust the time accordingly until I think that these are dried enough. At that point, I will go ahead and take them out, and if I have more left to still dehydrate, I will go ahead and add that into the dehydrator and do them until they are dry too. So this is pretty much how I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go ahead and just wrap this up. And like I said, the meat took on, if you can see, a good portion of that marinade. There's probably only about a tablespoon or two left of the marinade, so the meat's soaked up the majority of that. And putting it in the dehydrator is just going to evaporate all the moisture and just leave all the flavors behind. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this on evenly, and I'm going to just wrap this video up right here. As always, if you enjoyed watching this video, make sure you smash that like button. If you are not subscribed already, make sure to smash that subscribe button. And as always, thank you for watching, and I hope you continue to come back and enjoy watching me on this journey of mine.